Tonight, ahead of Veterans Day, I want to tell you a story. The life story of a man I met when I first came to town, a veteran of World War II, a father, and an all-around good guy. If there was ever a Hall of Fame of life, Bob Heiny would make it in on the first ballot. But of all the things he's done, and believe me, it's quite a bit, there's one thing that is still unfinished.
He moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour. For a 95-year-old.
You better get out of the way, boy. I'm a little dangerous. All clear? I don't want to hit anybody.
These days, the confident stride has turned to a slow shuffle.
I used to hit 5 irons. Now I can't even get home with the driver.
Breath comes with the aid of an oxygen bottle, but the eyes, they still sparkle, and they light up when he looks back.
They tell me I'm a legend there. Well, I guess I am.
It was Shakespeare who wrote, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts."
I just know I'm very lucky to be alive here. Very, very lucky.
Bob Heiny is a man who has played more parts than he can recall.
I never forget anything I remember. My family hears that quite a bit.
All right, Bob, let's start from the beginning.
That's a long time ago, Brett.
Life is not a highway strewn with flowers.
I was born in 1922.
That same year, Al Jolson's April Showers hit #1. Warren G. Harding was president, and Heiny was a big name in Fort Wayne groceries. The family business. It meant little Bobby had to grow up fast.
My dad had me pecking potatoes. I fill them up, and he said, fill them up that far, and he said, I'll weigh them. So I'll never forget. I was 5 years of age.
By the time he was a teen, those potatoes were small potatoes. Basketball was his bread and butter. He was an all-star Hoosier hoopster for Central Catholic. In 1939 and 40, they won back-to-back national championships. 5,000 people welcomed them home. Bob's remarks, they were carried live on the radio.
What was that like?
I just know it was exciting, put it that way, to see all those people.
On to college, first to Gonzaga, then to St. Joe College in Rensselaer. A season of baseball and a brush with a Hoosier with a star even brighter than his own.
And that's where I met Gil Hodges, who later became in the Hall of Fame playing baseball for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
That next year, he was back to basketball at the University of Toledo, ran the table at the tourney to the finals of the NIT, and lost. On his team, though, a guy they called Gremlin, Emlyn Tennell, the first African-American inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then the world intervened.
As soon as we finished in New York in the NIT tournament, we got drafted right away in the Army.
Sent to Fort Hood, stationed with a Hoosier from Gary, who Bob says was legendary for being lazy.
He spent the whole week underneath the barracks in the shade, goofing off.
That indolent Indianan was future Pro Football Hall of Famer Hank Stram. Before long, the barracks were left behind. The boys, they were moved to the Eastern Front.
We were in my battalion and company was probably in 3 or 4 major battles.
One of them, the last great battle of the war, Remagen Bridge, where he made friends and lost friends.
We lost 28 men when the bridge collapsed.
So many stories, but he shies from the serious, preferring the ones that draw a laugh.
And we heard a noise, and he yelled, halt, and the noise stopped, but then pretty soon it started again. So I yelled, halt, the noise stopped, started again. So I took my carbine, I fired about 6 or 8 shots. Pretty soon, a moo, I shot a cow. That's how I helped win World War II.
Back home after winning the war, he married the girl next door. Well, actually, She was the girl on the next block. Bob and Marge grew a family together. 3 tow-headed tots in a house in the city. From sleigh rides to snowball fights, they raised those girls until they gave them away. And then they got grandchildren. An idyllic life in Indiana. Perfectly perfect until it wasn't.
But Marge was a good, I miss her. She's been gone 7 or 8, 9 years now, I think. It's pretty hard. You'll find out someday when you lose her. You want to be the first one to go, that's why I said. Not the last one.
These days, the days start at the gym.
What's the secret to longevity, to living a long life?
Is being very active, very active. Whether it's golfing or walking or whatever, and eating properly and drinking your martinis.
Oh.
It has been a remarkable life. No regrets, he says. Well, maybe one.
If you could do one thing over, do one thing differently, what would you do?
Probably stay in college and get a degree. I've been to 4 colleges and I don't have a degree yet. You suppose I could still get one?
I'll bet you could.
All the world's a stage, and Bob, he still has parts left to play in his Hall of Fame life.
Now, Bob, I know that you're watching tonight, and I have a surprise for you. I just got this today. It says, "Dear Mr. Heiny, we learned of your personal history from Wayne TV's Brett Thomas. Your passion for serving others and your strong Catholic faith is an inspiration for all. I am pleased to share that because of your exemplary example of paying it forward, the University of St. Francis will award you an honorary degree at our May 2018 commencement ceremony. Blessings and grace, Sister Elise Chris, President, University of St. Francis." Bob, you got your degree. I guess 5th time is the charm. Heather? 95 and still going strong. At 6 o'clock, we told you about Bob Heiny, a World War II vet who's lived an extraordinary life. But the best part of the story, well, it came at the end, when I got to tell Bob that the University of St. Francis was about to change his personal history.
9.5 decades. Not many can make it that far, let alone drive shots.
There you go. Get in.
And drive cars.
Brett, I started driving a car when I was 14 years of age.
It was 2.5 years ago that I found Bob at the Y, and he found my ear and started talking it off. He told me about back-to-back high school national championships, how he'd fought the Germans in the Second World War, his kids, his wife. Bob has lived a remarkable life, but there is one mark that he never achieved.
If you could do one thing over, do one thing differently, what would you do?
Probably stay in college and get a degree. I've been to 4 colleges and I don't have a degree yet. You suppose I could still get one?
I'll bet you could.
That day, I called the University of St. Francis, and I told them about Bob, and it took them no time to respond. And this is how the whole thing played out.
I know that you're watching tonight, and I have a surprise for you. I just got this today. It says, "Dear Mr. Heiny, we learned of your personal history from Wayne TV's Brett Thomas. Your passion for serving others and your strong Catholic faith is an inspiration for all. I am pleased to share that because of your exemplary example of paying it forward, the University of St. Francis will award you an honorary degree at our May 2018 commencement ceremony. Blessings and grace, Sister Elise Chris, President, University of St. Francis." Bob, you got your degree. I guess 5th time is the charm.
You're on my list, Brett.
And for a moment, a man who faced down Germans in one of the great battles of the war let his guard down. All his life, he'd harbored a bit of shame, never earning a degree. And now he had an honor from the same school as his late wife.